Hi group, this is your chemistry teacher going to go through the enthalpy changes lab. This lab is going to be done in two parts. Part number one is we're going to do a reaction of copper sulfate pentahydrate and zinc. And the second piece with this is we're going to do a Hess's law enthalpy change reaction with some Epsom salt. So first and foremost, I want to show you what reaction you're going to be performing in the calorimeter, because it's kind of fun to watch it first. You're not going to be able to watch this reaction while it's in the calorimeter because it's styrofoam, you can't see through it. So I'm going to pour some copper sulfate pentahydrate into a beaker. This is 0.25 moles per liter, that's the concentration. And then I'm going to throw in here some powdered zinc. And the powdered zinc is going to work faster than the zinc I used yesterday, the granular zinc. And that's because it's more finely ground up, increasing the surface area and therefore speeding up the rate of reaction. So I'm going to throw that in there. I'm going to hold it up to the camera. And you're just going to have to be convinced that the beaker on the bottom is getting a little bit warm. But what you will see is that the silver zinc has now turned into a copperish color, because this is a single replacement reaction where the zinc and the copper changed places with each other. And so now I've got copper in the bottom of my beaker rather than zinc. And it's still a little bit warm, and that means that the reaction is still running. And this is just an example of what we're going to perform inside of the calorimeter. So that is going to be set aside because that was just a demo. Here is the calorimeter a student made for us a couple years ago. I have put inside the calorimeter a magnetic stir bar, and that's because I'm going to put this on a magnetic stir plate, and as the reaction is processing, the stir bar will stir the solution and distribute the heat evenly. All right, so the calorimeter is now on the stirring hot plate, and I better not turn on the hot plate or else it'll melt the styrofoam, and that would be bad. I'm going to start by measuring out 75 milliliters of the 0.25 mole per liter copper sulfate pentahydrate, and that is going to first go into the calorimeter. And when it goes into the calorimeter, I'm going to let it sit there for 2 minutes to make sure that the temperature does not change. So copper sulfate pentahydrate going into calorimeter, just like such. And then I am going to close the lid. I am going to turn on the stir bar, not the hot plate, so I don't melt the styrofoam. You might be able to hear the calorimeter because the stir bar is hitting the sides. And I'm going to stick in my temperature probe, which this temperature probe is hooked to our LabQuest Mini. You probably missed seeing those LabQuest Minis. And I'm going to hit collect on my graphical analysis software. I'm just going to let this run for 2 minutes, and I'm making sure that on the graphical analysis software that the graph that's going to be created is just a straight line and the temperature is not going to change. That's going to be important a little bit later on. So meanwhile, as the temperature is stabilizing inside of the calorimeter, I'm going to mass out 1.5 grams of the powdered zinc. And to do that, 1.2 grams, I first have my weigh boat on my quad beam balance. I'm going to get the mass of this. You're going to see as soon as I get the mass of the weigh boat is going to flash across your screen with a number. And I'm going to balance this out here. So the weight of the weigh boat is 2 point, oops, nope, it's not. 2 point, sensitive little sucker. 2.5, go, 2.581, plus or minus 0.005 grams. Now I want to make sure that I get 1.2 grams of the zinc in there, so I'm going to end up changing this to 3.781 when I add 1.2 grams to this. 781. And then I am going to fill in my weigh boat until the balance is recalibrated here. And that was already too much. A little bit less. A little bit less. And there we go. So there is my, oops, a little bit less. Again. I know you all miss these quad beam balances with all their sensitivities. So there's my 1.2 grams of zinc in there. I've let the calorimeter run here for a good 2 minutes. I'm going to stop my collection here. Now, what I'm going to go ahead and do is, as I'm filming, I'm also going to film the graph that is going to appear on your video, because I want to really show you what is going to happen to calculate this data. And I will edit this part out, I think. I want to do desktop. Do not want to embed the webcam. Record. Okay, so I am ready now to start my reaction. I'm going to pull out the temperature probe. I'm going to open this up. Now this is, if you were in the classroom, this would be a two-person operation, because one person would hit collect as the other person puts the zinc in and seals up this calorimeter as fast as possible. I'm the only one here, so it might be a little skewed, but we will give it a go. So here's my powdered zinc. Another little source of error is, you notice powdered zinc is so fine that it actually gets stuck in the crevices of the weigh boat, so not all 1.2 grams will probably get in there. Just an error note here. I'm going to throw that in. I'm going to seal it up really quick. Hit collect. Throw the temperature probe in. And you will see the graph. I'm going to give you this graph on the video as well after I do my edit. But what I'm looking at here is I am looking at a steep temperature climb as soon as the zinc hit the copper sulfate. I notice that this temperature is rising, and I'm going to continue going until that temperature stabilizes and starts to fall. So I'm also going to make sure that my time will go for about 3 minutes here. I'm probably not going to go all 3 minutes. I started at 19.2 degrees Celsius, and that data will be written down for you on the video. I am now at 24.6 degrees Celsius and climbing. 24.7. And it's still climbing here. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to let this run. And then the next scene that you'll see here is a copy of me in this video.